Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, and double honors to that great millstone while unto his truth, and also to the hopeful elect that is scattered abroad. I like to say, shalom. And come back here today with another great powerful lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And the title of today's lesson is The Sword and Their Destruction Draws Near. I like to say shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope this will help you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So a lot of things are going on in the world. The end is being manifest left and right. We're drawing nearer and nearer to great death and destruction. And we're constantly sounding the law each and every day through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And that about that seeing that all these different prophecies are constantly popping off the pages left and right. And a lot of people are not hearing, not seeing, are not considering, are not even knowing what's going on. What are the signs of the times? And not about it. We are in these times, which in fact we're in the end time, and not about great tribulation, great death and destruction. We're at the beginning of sorrow. We're constantly warning you left and right. We're sounding like a broken record, but we're gonna constantly do the will of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. So we seeing all these different things in Ukraine, seeing all these different things that's going on in America, which in fact, AK, Babylon the Great, seeing all the, when you go to certain Walmart, certain place where you shop, you're seeing that the shelves are being empty, and that about a lot of people still are not considering. Things are constantly growing. Evils are constantly growing all over the place, left and right. We constantly want this great day of death and destruction right upon us. Jacob's trouble, and everyone on this planet will be in trouble. A global event that will be off the chain, a time that we have never seen before. And we constantly warning, we constantly prophesying, we constantly telling you things. And everybody, you still think that this is a game. Either you choose life or you choose death. So the title of the day's lesson once again is The Sword and Their Destruction Draws Near. So we'll get started in the book of 2 Ezra chapter 15. 2 Ezra chapter 15, and we'll start up at verse 14. And it reads, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Verse 15, For the sword and their destruction draws nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand. Verse 16, For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So a lot of things are getting ready to go down. A civil war is getting ready to come to the shores of America. A lot of people still think there's this game. You're seeing all those different trouble that's going on in Australia, over in Ukraine, in Kazakhstan, all these different places around the world, and it's getting ready to come to America, aka Babylon the Great. And we constantly warn, and uprisings in the government, they cannot make a decision of the Republican against the Democrat, so that's a nation divided, cannot stand. And that about all these different things are constantly coming to pass. We seeing that we're getting very close to that great and glorious return of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. And they would not regard their king or prince, police, the military, the government, all this uncivil unrest, insurrection. It's getting ready to happen. It's getting ready to come. So we telling you, we're warning you, it's time to watch, pray, and be sold, because we read upon that great time of trouble that we have never seen for. Great tribulation, great death and mourning is right upon us. We constantly warn you, and it's time to seek the Lord. And Jacob's trouble is here. New world order, this global reset. Everything is set. The stage is set. And that is about it. All we're waiting for, the Esau eating the so-called white man, which in fact is the devil that the Bible speaks of, is go ahead on and push that button so the Lord can lift up that right hand so we can get out of here, because we're ready to go. This is not our rest. So now, let's start back up at 2 Ezra chapter 15. We'll start back up at verse 17. And it reads, A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Verse 18, For because their pride in the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So we coming upon that time where it be a global event, where it will be a global lockdown, mandatory. And we constantly telling you we're not to be able to go into another city without having that, credentials. And that about it. We're constantly telling you left and right. It is here. Everything is set into motion. Any day, all hell can break loose. And we constantly tell you, we're in the end time. We are here. It is at the door. And I about it, we're constantly warning you left and right. We are in those perilous times, an evil time that we have never seen before. So you will not be able to buy and sell. We're not be able to go from place to place. Your freedom will be taken totally away from you. And that about it, you will have to make a decision. Either you choose life or you choose death. The Lord is getting ready to return. So now, 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 19. And it reads, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because the lack of bread and with great tribulation. One moment. And that's what we're coming up on. A great tribulation period that we've never seen before. A lack of food. A lot of people will be fighting one another. A great chaos that we have never seen before. Great fear is getting ready to fall upon a lot of people. And great judgment is getting ready to come down. We read upon judgment. Recompense and judgment is here. And that about it is at the door. Seeing all these different things are going on around. A lot of people are still playing games. Still drinking and being merry. And that is not heeding. And I did about, he said, they shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. So now, let's go to Job one moment. No, let's go to Revelations one moment. Revelation chapter 6, one moment. Revelations chapter 6, one moment. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 4, one moment. And it reads, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. So that's talking about the so-called white man, Esau Edom. He's getting ready to use that sword because he knowing that he have a short time. Revelation chapter 12 and 12. The devil knowing that he have just a short time. He is getting ready to come down with great wrath upon the children of Israel. And not about, we constantly warning you left and right. He's getting ready to use his blessing that the Lord blessed him with. When you read about that in Genesis chapter 27, I think around verse 40 and 41. And that is about it, that this is the struggle in Rebekah's womb. And that is about it, it's getting ready to come to the final climax. And that is about good against evil. And that is about it, that either you will hear or either you will forbear. So now, let's go to one moment. Let's go to Job. No, let's go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter, one moment. Ezekiel chapter 21, one moment. Ezekiel chapter 21, one moment. Ezekiel chapter 21, and we'll start up at verse 9. Ezekiel chapter 21 and verse 9, one moment. And it reads, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus said the Lord, say a sword is sharpened and is furbished. It's sharpened. Verse 10, and it is sharpened to make a sword destruction, sword slaughter. It is furbished, that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It condemns the rod of my son as every tree. Verse 11. And he has given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished, to give it unto the hand of the slayer. So the idea about it is that so-called white man is getting ready to come down with great wrath. The sword is sharpened, and also the Lord is getting ready to sharpen his sword. He's getting ready to return, and lay this place down, the indignation of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua. And everybody seeing all these different evils are constantly growing. It's coming to America. It's constantly getting closer and closer to earth, to us. All these different mandates getting ready to go out. All these unrighteous decrees is coming upon us, very quickly. And everybody, the Lord said, behold, I come quickly. And everybody, you must be prepared, because you're not prepared, you will be destroyed. So now, let's start back up at Ezekiel chapter 21. We'll start back up at verse 12, and it reads, cry and howl, son of man, for it shall be upon my people. It shall be upon all the princes of Israel. Terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite therefore upon thy thigh. So that recompense and judgment. He said, first my judgment will start at the house of Israel. And that is your wicked 2/3 Israel niggas, wicked 2/3 Negro women, also Latinos, the Native American, the Mexican. And that judgment is starting with us. It already has begun, but it's getting ready to come on a higher level. The body count is getting ready to go up, and the sword and their destruction drawing nearer and nearer. And great destruction, great death is right upon us. So that everybody, it's time to seek the Lord, because we're running out of time. We are out of time. So now let's go to Isaiah chapter 24. One moment. Isaiah chapter 24. One moment. Isaiah chapter 24 and one moment. And we'll start up around verse 7. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 7. And it reads, the new wine mourneth, the vine language, and all the merry-hearted do sigh. Verse 8, the mirth of the tabrets ceases, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, and the joy of the harp ceases. So all the mirth of this land is constantly decreasing, and a lot of people beginning to see that keep hearing rumors of war, keep seeing earthquakes in diverse places. They constantly beginning to see that something is happening, something is getting ready to happen. A lot of people are beginning to get that fear of coming upon. And the Lord said he will pour out his spirit on all flesh, and it's exactly what's happening. Also, he said his word would not return to him void. So all the things that you see that like this place is missing something, like, the salt of the earth, it like all the seasoning is gone out of this place. And that is about it, that wickedness, it has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. Also, everything is waxing colder and colder each and every day. All the mirth of the land is getting ready to cease, because that is about that great death and destruction right upon. The sword in their destruction is right upon them. And that is about, we're constantly warning you. So now we start back up at Isaiah chapter 24, and we'll start back up at verse 9. They shall not drink wine with a song. Let's start over. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 9. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Verse 10. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. Verse 11. There is a crying of wine in the streets. All joy is darkness, and the mirth of the land is gone. So that is getting ready to happen. Now it's about the city of confusion, which in fact is AKA Babylon the Great. It's constantly breaking down. This place is decaying, and the Lord is constantly taking this place down piece by piece. And now it's about the great day of the Lord is constantly getting closer and closer. All these different signs in the world and all these Bible prophecies are constantly jumping off the page. That's why you must stay on fire for Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, because that is about, we're almost here and we almost out of here. We cannot wait. Immortality, rulership, spiritual power, we cannot wait. We are ready to rule and get out of here. So all the mirth of the land is ceasing. And that is about all the people, they looking around, they saying, man, it's something is getting ready to happen. They can sense it. And that is about it, because the Lord is pouring out his spirit across the world. He's visiting the earth that he created. We constantly warn you left and right. The sword in their destruction draws near. So now let's go to one moment. Let's get a quick precept. Let's go to Sirach chapter 5 and verse 7. Sirach chapter 5 and verse 7. Let's get a quick precept. Sirach chapter 5 and verse 7. One moment. And it reads, make no tarry to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. So that is about it. We're right upon the day of vengeance. And that is about it. The Lord said suddenly. And that is about when they say peace and safety, then total destruction will be upon them. And that is about, we constantly warn you left and right. The great day of the Lord is fast approaching. Also, we read upon World War III, all these different things that's going on at the Ukraine border. The tensions are constantly boiling over. There's no peace talks now. Everything is going to the left, and that is about it. The Lord is constantly gathering the nation. Ezekiel chapter 38 is getting ready to come to life, and that is about it. We constantly warn you left and right. We are here. And that is about it, that, we constantly telling you left and right. And that is about it, that when that great day of the Lord come, it won't be no more talking. So now, let's go to one moment. Let's see here. One moment. Let's go to one moment. Let's go to Romans chapter 13. One moment. Take this off the phone. One moment. Let's go to Romans chapter 13 and verse 4. Romans chapter 13 and verse 4. Let's get another quick precept before we close out. Romans chapter 13. One moment. Romans chapter 13 and verse 4. One moment. And it reads, For he is the minister of the Most High, to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he bears not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. That's talking about the so-called white man. He was blessed with that sword. He's getting ready to use that sword. And that's about great death and destruction. Egyptian against Egyptian. So it's going to be total chaos. And in the midst of that chaos, the Lord is getting ready to return and set things back into order. So now, let's go to our last and final script. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 47. One moment. We'll close out here. Hope you get edified by the lesson today. Isaiah chapter 47. One moment. Isaiah chapter 47. And we will start up. Let's see where I want to start up at. One moment. One moment. We'll start up at verse 9. And it reads, But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance in thy enchantment. Verse 10, For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, None sees me. Thou wisdom and thou knowledge, it has perverted thee. And thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. So that is about it. A lot of people have great pride. Also, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, and that is about he's trusting in his pseudo side. He's trusting in all his technology, his lying wonders, and that is about it will only lead to his death and destruction. And that is about he held bounds that he cannot pass, and also he will not be able to perform his enterprise. And also, we are not ignorant of Satan's device. So the sword and their destruction draw nearer and nearer, and that is about it. The Lord is getting ready to bring it. So now, we'll start back up at Isaiah chapter 47. We'll start back up at verse 11. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it rises, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Verse 12. Now with thy enchantment and with the multitude of thy sorcery, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Verse 12, thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsel. Let now, Salaki, the astrologers, the stargazers, and the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. So all of that left hand energy won't work in the great day of the Lord. They will consult to their pseudo side, to their black magic. And in that day won't enter that work, because the Lord is getting ready to bring that recompense and judgment, that he's getting ready to set up that righteous kingdom. And that is about evil and deceit shall be put out, and we cannot wait. So they're constantly trusting in all this technology, trusting in all of this pseudo side. It would only lead to their death and destruction. And also, a lot of people will be deceived by all of their sorcery. And you know what I'm talking about. And that is that, a lot of people is going to be constantly lining up, constantly being blinded, because the God of this world has blinded them. And that is about they did not want to repent. There is that rebellious house. They did not want to return to Yahweh. They constantly trust in the strength of Egypt, and also trusting in the oppressor. And that is about it will only lead to their death and destruction. Great death, great mourning. We at the beginning of sorrow. So now, let's start back up at Isaiah chapter 47, and we'll start back up at verse 14. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. verse 15. Thus shall they be unto thee, with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchant from thy youth. They shall wander from everyone to his quarter. None shall save thee. So that is about it. They will not escape in that day. So none of the things that they have right now, they trusting in it, and they're saying they trusting and they get great pride, and that idol about it will only lead to their death and destruction. So they are deceived. You know what I'm saying? The deceived and the deceiver is the Lord is getting ready to take both of them. So we don't have anything to worry about. So the sword and their destruction is drawing nearer and nearer. So we're getting very close to that great and glorious return of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. We're seeing all this that's going on at the Ukraine border. We're seeing that Israel and Iran talks. We're seeing China and Taiwan. All these different talks. All these nations are gathering. And that is about it, that the Lord is constantly putting all the chess pieces together for that great destruction is right upon us. And we constantly warning. We are here. It is at the door. And the idea about it, it is time to seek the Lord and come back under total subjection to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. So the title of the day lesson once again is the sword and their destruction draws near. So I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rekakadash. I like to say, Shalom.